Okay, let's resume back to class. Anyone here had any wine for the past 1 month?
No.
No.
Yesterday
Something is not right.
I make
Why you are not thirsty?
You just had breakfast
You're
you
not
just
thirsty,
drink plain water and Coke.
Okay, anyway, today we are here to learn more about wine. So the LO is basically demonstrate how to appreciate wines. So as Napoleon Bonaparte has said, in victory you deserve champagne, in defeat you need it as well. So the first thing we have to learn is how many types of wines are there. So wines are categorized into 5 different types, which is your white wine, your red wine, your rosé wine, your sparkling wine, and your fortified wines. So for white wine, the characteristics are fermented wines with no bubbles. That's why you call them white wine. It could be clear, transparent, or translucent. They can be made with one single varietals or many different varietals to be a blend. And the color of the wine is not red but white. It can be made with both white grapes and black grapes. Next, we have red wines. Characteristic of red wines is also the same as white wine. It's fermented still with no bubbles. Alright, it can be made with red grapes only. It's clear, transparent, translucent, and opaque. Can be made with one single varietals or can be made with many as a blend. The third one we're going to go is rosé wine. So the characteristic of rosé wine can either be stills or sparkling. It can be clear or transparent. Alright, the way of making rosé wine is basically by either mixing white wine with red wine, or you can actually macerate the wine with skin of red grapes. The longer you macerate, the more extraction of color you'll get. If you macerate too long, it will no longer be rosé wine, it will be red wine. Next, we have sparkling wine. So sparkling wines can be vintage or non-vintage. Alright, vintage is actually the year that you harvest the wine. So cheap way of producing sparkling wine is basically the Charmat method. So you add CO2 into the wine in a very big tank, and the expensive way is basically like champagne. You actually have a second fermentation in the bottle itself, and it can be made with both white and red grapes. So all champagne are sparkling wine, but not all sparkling wine are champagne, because champagne is a patent word in France. Everybody follow so far?
What's macerating?
Macerating meaning that you actually soak the wine with the skin of the grapes for it to extract the color. So, follow on, we have fortified wines. Fortified wines are basically an aperitif or after dinner drinks. You basically there are wines that you have additional alcohol added to it before fermentation or after fermentation. And originally, fortified wines are basically used in the olden days to preserve wines during long sea voyages. Because in the olden days, you don't have airplane, you don't have bullet train, so all you have is sailboat. Alright, so people who actually make wines from Portugal, and when the British went to Portugal, they want to bring the wine back to UK. They actually have to find a way to preserve the wines. So it can be dry, sweet, depending on the length of fermentation before alcohol is added. And now, I would like to show you how to appreciate wines. Right. So, when appreciating wine, bearing in mind you have to actually start with white, then with red wines, unless the wine is a sweet wine. In this case itself, because we are tasting 2 wines, the first wine is actually a still red wine, and the second one is actually a dessert wine. So even though it's white, but you taste it later, alright? So when you're tasting wine, you always examine the color of the wines, alright?
Why
with
white
your sense of
first
sight.
before red? Why white first before red?
The reason why you have to taste white before red is because white wine are actually more delicate than red wines. Red wine contains tannin. So when you have a wine with tannins, after you go back to white wine, you might perceive that the white wine has tannin in
Is
your
it an
mouth.
aftertaste?
Yeah. So the way to do it is to hold the glass up high, all right? Or you can tilt and put it over a white background, all right? So when you tip it this way, what you see, you call it the tongue of the wine. Tongue of the wine, all right? So you can see the color, all right? All right. After looking at the color of the wine, make sure that it's clear, all right? It's brilliant. There's no foreign particles inside, all right? It means that it's safe for you to taste. But hang on, you need to examine the bouquet, all right? We are being taught, when you look at something that is nice, next it must smell good. If it doesn't smell good, you don't put it in your mouth, all right? So next what you do is, you basically look at the glass and you swirl, all right? Swirl. Make sure you don't swirl too hard and spill it over to your neighbors. Hang on, this is me showing you, no, you're all doing it.
Excited.
Alright, so after swirling, alright, you look here, so you call this the legs. The more legs you have, like, it's not sexy, the more legs you have, it represents that this wine has got more alcohol.
What's legs?
Alright, legs, you see or you call it the tears.
Leftover.
Alright,
The tears.
Coming down, coming down.
so he knows the wine.
Ew.
So what's the bouquet?
This-
Is that you? Is something wrong? Would you like to join
I
us?
cannot drink wine now.
It's okay. It's okay not to drink, but you can actually look at the color and then nose it. Yeah. It's all perfectly fine not to
okay.
taste. Yeah. So what you do is you nose the wine. Make sure it has pleasant smell or bouquet. All right. Once you can confirm that it's pleasant, that it means that it's safe to actually taste the wine. All right. So the wine flavors you can only taste it in your mouth, right? So what you do is you basically swirl, nose, and you put a small sip into your mouth, and then suck in there.
Ayo, this is real.
Yes, it's supposed to be like.
When you're doing this, you're basically using your olfactory to actually taste the wine within your mouth. Alright? When swirling of the wine, you basically amplify the bouquet. When more wines get onto the side of the glasses, more flavors will be released. So lastly, basically when you're always drinking wine, Chinese have one saying, 你不喝闷酒, you don't drink alone. Alright, you always drink with your friends, alright? So when you're drinking with your friends, bearing in mind, when you're drinking with your friends, basically you can talk about the wine. Alright? You are reserved on your own personal opinion. You are the king or queen of your own palate. But if you're tasting with someone who is superior, a professional, or with your boss, you might think twice because what they say, you might have some weight on what they say. Alright? So now can I group you all into threes? Adayu and Hadi, one group. And then Hok Meng and Derek, one group. And the three of you, one group. Oh, sorry, the two of you, one group, and one group here. Alright? Okay? Okay, you've been given handout. Basically, in the handout itself, I've actually shown you the characteristic of the wine, as well as the words to be used when describing wines. Alright? So if you flip over to the second page, sorry, the third, the fourth, the last second page, you'll be able to see some helpful words to help you describe the color of the wine. Like for example, for white wine, you have straw, pale straw. Red wine, you have garnet, you have purple. Then for the white wine bouquet itself, you have citrus fruits, such as lime, lemon, grapefruit. For red wine, you have red berries, blackcurrant, blackberries. For the taste itself, for white wine, you have buttery, creamy, acidic, sweet, fruity. For red wine itself, you have soft, elegant, silky, rough, tannic, or complex. So could you all just start now? Proceed with the red wine first, on your right. So these are the steps on how to taste the wine step by step, as what I've said earlier. So you actually tilt the glass to examine the wine clarity and color. All right. So that's the right way. Okay. Yeah. or you can put it under a white background. Yeah. Next, what you do is swirl the glass. Swirl the glass. Alright. Then nose the bouquet.
Must have some.
Okay.
Okay, if we have nose as big as Serrano, then you probably be able to nose the wine better.
Who's
Yeah.
Serrano?
Serrano is basically a historical figure that has got very huge nose from front.
I got broke nose how?
If you have top nose itself, then you probably won't be able to smell all the bouquet of the wine. But when you're nosing wine, do remember one thing: every one of us has got a blind spot, meaning that someone might be able to detect certain flavors the other person may not be able. Right? For example, the two wines that you have here, basically, they've been making wine for the past 2 centuries. All right. The Ackerman itself has been founded in 1811. So basically, they are French winemaker. Belgium then moved over to France to make wines, and then for the Enna Bocchino, they've been making wines for 200 years as well. So they're actually in the North Italy. So we have North Italy and South of France. So now to taste the wine, remember to put a small seed into your mouth and suck in air. Don't swallow it,
Small seed.
So the purpose of doing this is basically what you want to do is to enjoy the flavors of the wine, alright? Enjoy the flavors of the wine and pause, count to 10 or 20, right? And see how long the flavor of the wine
What
lasts
smell?
in your mouth, alright? So there's a evaluating form over here, alright, which you can actually score the wines, alright?
Smell.
With 5 being the best and 0 being the worst, the least.
How do you know 5 and 1?
Up to you, it's up to you.
I told myself, that's all I
That's a vegetable.
Okay, shall we move on over to the white wine? Okay, before moving over to the white wine, always remember to actually clean your palate. Clean your palate with water.
Oh, do you want that?
How to suck in air without choking?
Nose and good to you.
Okay, that's by training. When you leave a bit of wine, not a full mouth, alright, try to suck in a bit of air and chew your wine and then swallow. Alright.
Chew.
Okay, let's continue with the white wine. Alright, observe the color. Okay, for white you can actually see, this is basically a straw, light straw, and you can see some bubbles in it.
Yeah.
Alright. Next, you like to swirl it and nose it. It's got a very tropical, floral, aromatic bouquet.
Straw is what color?
Straw, it's not our drinking straw. Straw are basically those hay.
The hay straw.
Yeah, hay straw. Yeah.
Huh? His.
Hey,
Hay.
Hey.
The cow eats, the horse eats. Hay.
cow
So the color is like
Yes,
this.
it's called like this.
Oh, okay.
So you swirl it and you nose it, then you sip it.
Try out, try.
So this is white wine.
Oh, this is like
This is fruity.
taste
Can
like
smell
wine.
the fruit?
Yes. The more bubbles, the better.
Do remember, for Moscato itself, you have to serve it really cold.
Yeah.
And one key thing about very, very good Moscato is that it cannot only be sweet. At the back of it, you must have a good acidity to come up, to balance it up.
Yes.
So that the more you drink, the more you want to drink.
Okay.
Okay, so
When
you
As you drink, you start to salivate. It's when you start to salivate, you want to drink more.
Calling it is
So what is this? White wine?
She needs
with
help
no
now.
bubbles.
We
I
have-
can see
we
the
have-
bubbles.
she's not one
Okay,
of the.
this is not a sparkling wine.
It
It's
tastes a bit.
it's a fizzy wine.
It's like fruit.
So it
very nice.
doesn't fall under a white wine.
So
It
this
falls
is-
under a fizzy wine.
So this is not a white wine.
Yeah, this is not white wine.
Okay,
So it
this
falls
is
under a fizzy wine.
fizzy wine. That's
Or
why you
sparkling
got
wine.
bubble.
Yeah.
If there's a white wine, no bubble.
How many times must we suck in there?
One
You,
minute,
you
just
want
once.
to bring.
Just once.
Even for white wine, we need to suck the air.
Yeah, because for white and red, you need to suck the air
Suck the
so that
air.
you will be able to
Sound, huh?
savor the bouquet in your mouth. Yeah. See, as I've mentioned before, right? To appreciate wine, to appreciate wine, basically you need to examine the color, the bouquet, the taste, all right, then the opinion. Yeah, that's what you need to do. So have everybody completed both?
Yes.
So what have we learned about to demonstrate how to appreciate wine today? Anybody can tell me?
See
Can
the
I have some
color.
volunteers?
Must suck it
See the
in.
color?
Color.
You're right.
Yeah lah.
Okay, so basically,
They got 10.
there are also things you need to remember, which is there are 5 different types of wines. All right, because if you just think wine is wine, then you may be a bit misled, because you have to know what are the types of wine that you are tasting or drinking before you can actually start to evaluate more. All right. So, are you? Are you okay?
I don't like the smell of wine.
It's okay.
Take
Then
away
you
lah,
can
take away.
enjoy some water.
Okay, thank
Can you
you.
enjoy some water? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Eat like
Come, let's continue. Yeah. So what is the advantage of doing a wine appreciation? Anyone can tell me? I got one more wine opener here. So just start the process. What you do?
You are enjoying it.
Yeah. Some more.
To ensure what we taste is safe for us to.
Yeah. And the weight.
Upsell the client.
So it's like
Not that, yeah.
Sales
So basically, the advantage of doing a wine appreciation is basically you're using the structured way of your 4 senses to actually appreciate the wine. Because when you're talking about appreciating a wine and drinking a wine is 2 totally different things. Right? When you drink, you just sip. That's it. All right. You don't think about anything. But when you appreciate, you actually look at the color, nose it, taste it, and listen to your opinion. All right. And look at how well balanced the wine is.
So the hearing part is listen to other people's opinion lah.
Listening
Not
part
putting
is
ear to the
also
wine.
important because, right, like I mentioned, if today you are drinking with your fellow colleagues, all right, you are the king or queen of your own palate. But today you are drinking with your boss. If your boss said, "This is jolly good,"
Awesome.
what do you think of it?
Ampe.
Boss must say yes.
So in life, we always learn how to be flexible. Okay, how are we going to apply this in future at the workplace?
I can't drink the whole plate.
Because you're F&B staff, you're allowed to taste.
Oh yeah.
You taste already what?
Yes, I will know when the customer asks me to recommend something or evaluate the wine, for example, then I will be able to show them how it should be.
Awesome. A round of applause. So can we have another example? Oh, how about the other side?
Anything else?
We'll be able to know how to answer to the customer's queries lah. Example, whoever want like wedding or whatever, right? So basically, what are the type of recommendation, the right appropriate recommendation for the direct customers?
Yep. After this class itself, when you have actually tasted wine and went through the step-by-step procedure of tasting a wine, you actually have more confidence.
Yes.
With more confidence, you can actually sell better.
Yes. Thank you.
A round of applause for Hok Ming. I'd like to conclude, that's the end of the lesson today. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.